Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at this time. Please turn off cell phones, electronic devices to off or vibrate. Councilman Bob McDaniel, will you please lead us in our prayer and pledge, sir?
Heavenly Father, we know that you're in control of everything. And tonight, as we present you with petitions and prayers, even thanksgiving, for everything you do for us, we pray that you'll intervene and give us wisdom in ways that decisions tonight and every night will be made to glorify you and to benefit the citizens of Ballinger, Texas. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right, consider approval of the minutes of the June 4th, 2018 meeting, please. Everybody had time to review. Everybody good?
They look in place to me, so I make the motion that we approve.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye, please. All right. All right, visitors who are not on the regular agenda will be given the opportunity to address the council on any subject at this time. Is anyone present that is not on the regular agenda tonight? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir, thank you. I am Jean Hensley. This is Queva James.
Yes.
We are with the Midwest Texas Artists Guild, and we would like to present the City of Ballinger with a set of prints of the mural that we painted last year that's on our building.
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
Beautiful.
Why don't we get you on the agenda?
But it's a little late.
It's a little late, I just wanted to jump on it, did you?
Yes.
That is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ladies. That's pretty. Thank you.
Good, huh?
Yeah, so beautiful.
Bet you Queva had something to do with that. Want to see about that? I guess you can stick it up there. You want it?
I'll leave it here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well, thank you, bye. It's like, zoom, they're out of here. All right, City Council may consider, discuss, or take action on a request from Elaine Paske with the City Park Board to consider naming the middle street in the park. So is this the one that goes through the middle of the park?
Yes,
Middle.
thank
All
you.
right.
Someone had mentioned to me that they thought it would be a good idea if that little dividing street had a name that may possibly honor vets, people who have served the military way, vet drive, you know, something along those lines, and put a sign at either end of it, just to kind of.
We planning on, adding to it with a continuation of a memorial, or adding to the
No,
names as far as?
it was just mentioned just to put a sign up, but that's nothing that's gotta be done right now. So anyway, someone had just mentioned it to me. Apparently I wear a hat that I'm not aware of. It's drop your suggestions here. I don't know.
You like to be voluntold to them?
Yeah. But there were some other things that I wanted to follow up on with the the party in the park on the 30th.
Okay.
First of all, can we borrow 4 tables and 15 chairs from the community center for the judges for the cook-off? Is that possible?
Sure. I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, all right. And is there water in the park?
Yes.
I mean, like faucets, and because if you'll see, we went to Bront for their party, and they had a little kiddie section.
Okay.
And you put down tarps and put little kiddie pools in with the slides, and it kind of kept the little ones occupied. Because I think if you have little people happy, the big people stay.
What,
If little people's not happy, they're going home.
yeah, they're going home because they're not tired of dealing with it.
Yeah.
Where do you plan on trying to put those at?
Just
In our park?
Just anywhere. I mean, because we're going to have a cook-off going. There's washer tournament, volleyball tournament.
Well, the reason I was asking is because there's water down through the center there by the road you're talking about, and then the park up on the river, and then the RV park areas.
No, I would rather have it central.
Okay.
So there's water by the dividing road there.
Is there any classes down
See, we did a drive-through.
If that area, they're hidden.
There are not any on the side of the pavilion, I don't think.
I don't think so.
No, they're back towards the pump.
I think there might be one over by PlayStation,
Yeah,
you know, but
I don't think there's any of that
that's
east.
really something we need to look at because there's.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Well-
not very many there.
Carl came by, and we were talking about that Thursday or Friday.
So there may or may not be a faucet.
Well, there's at
If I leave it at
least
the
one.
pool, they could run on those and set up close to the pool, maybe.
Well, there's faucets over by the well. I know there's faucets by the pool.
Mhm.
And I know where a couple fire trucks are. If need be. Last resort.
Sorry.
We can get you water.
It's my son-in-law. Sorry. Okay, and y'all will bring, the city will bring the barricades down that weekend or that Friday? Y'all suggested barricading off just the middle road for through traffic?
Correct.
So y'all.
Yeah, we had talked about that in order for y'all to keep.
Okay, and more dumpsters, I'd ask Bonnie about that.
We have to.
And also, Corey?
Oh,
Sorry. Right there, see, you can't really tell it very well, but Bronx has a separate volleyball court.
Okay.
And all it is like dirt, sand, whatever.
Mhm.
And the boundaries are marked by PVC pipe. So, you know, PVC pipe, a couple of holes in the net, and we're good to go. Because there's a lot of interest now in volleyball, which they can play on the basketball court, but you hardly ever go through the park that there's not someone playing basketball, which is great. But I think it would benefit us all if we had a volleyball court also in the future.
Well,
Not, not today, in the future.
That's not fun. We'll look into it.
That's
Let me
nice.
ask a question.
Yes.
When you're talking about barricading the roads, are you talking about barricading all the roads going down now?
No, we talked about that. We're just gonna do that middle road
Okay,
that
just
goes
a minute.
between the two playgrounds there, yeah. Just for safety of kids running back and forth.
Yeah, not closed off yet.
what do you want the barricades Friday, that Friday?
Are they safe to be left down there?
I'm sure it's fine.
Who wants a barricade? Just put them on either end, and when we go down Friday, we can set them up.
What about the table and the chair?
If I get a key, we can move those ourselves on Saturday.
Okay. Table, 4 tables and 15 chairs?
4 tables and 15 chairs, yes, sir.
And what time is that?
We're gonna go down about 10, but the barbecuers are gonna be there on Friday evening to check in and all that, so.
Okay.
And we've got a movie.
Well, how long are you gonna need the chairs and the tables, I guess what I was asking? All day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The judging, I think, is like 2 and 4, but they'll probably just use them to sit at 2, if that's okay.
That's fine.
And then we're gonna be giving away watermelons also.
And this is the 30th, right?
Yes, sir. And you know where to find me if you need anything else. When they get to reach out and touch me. I think that's it.
All righty.
Sam,
Yes, sir.
Elaine,
Yes, sir.
someday, you know, I hear what you're saying on the street, the vet, et cetera.
Mhm.
But someday I wish somebody would come forward and put up a plaque in honor of Lewis Triggs. Lewis was operated the city park. He did a beautiful job, great ambassador for the city. A
Absolutely.
black man that was voted to be Citizen of the Year
Mhm.
because of his work in the park. Anyway, he worked on a meager salary. The city administrator at the time wouldn't even give him gas for his pickup. He provided him his own vehicle. But gosh, I wish someday somebody would come forward with
And
that.
see, I don't have a problem with naming the street after, I mean, we just to honor someone. You
You
know?
know, the younger people don't remember him, but
Yeah.
you probably do.
What are you saying?
Lewis Triggs. He was a sweetheart.
Yes, I do remember. Mr. Triggs, yes. Even though I'm young, I remember him. You know, that also would be a suggestion. And if we name it, I don't know that you would want to make a contest out of it. You know, to have people, the citizens come up with suggestions for the street. Or a committee, appoint a committee to do it, so. open to suggestions on
Well, that's kind of like what I was asking, are you trying to do it just one, or are you trying to do it for many? Because, you know, you do it for Mr. Triggs, you could have the military, the vet, you know, just something, you know, honorary road or, you know, whatever. I don't know what you're looking to do. I thought y'all had a name or something in mind, rather than.
Not specifically yet, no. But, you know, we got 4 other roads
And
down
the
there
street
too.
signs.
Hmm?
Those, will we be responsible for the street signs?
Yeah.
As far as, okay, just make sure those,
Veterans Lane.
no one has to.
Veterans Lane, or
No.
Redway, or what, I mean, because, you know, you got 4 other roads down there, you could honor someone too. A group, an individual, whatever.
Actually thinking about it, you know, you don't have somebody driving all the way through the park going, where are you, where are you, where are you? Yeah, if we get in the park, right.
We haven't had that problem yet.
Maybe a little more designated. I know it's not huge, but hey.
Okay,
All right. Anything else?
I
I
think that's.
apologize for the way I phrased that.
No, that's, seriously, I'm fine with that. No. I'm tougher than that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Do I have a motion to accept Miss Elaine Paske's proposal to have a middle street of the park named,
So moved.
whatever we come up with?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Alright.
What? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ooh. Elaine's on, is there?
Oh, was with us, so, Ben?
Well, I was hoping it was. We can look at that. We'll find out. That'd be even better if we find out Lewis's of that. All right. Moving along, City Council may consider, discuss, or take action on a proposal from Bob Forman with Priority Power. Good evening, Mr. Bob Forman. And he also left you all some charts to look over right quick.
I have a pricing proposal in front of you, 3 pages. I think, looking at the first page, first off, Mayor Mallory, members of the council, thank you very much for hearing our proposal today. We appreciate the city of Ballinger and the business you've given us for years. We have really good news here. If you will look in the middle of the page, that's where the 5 suppliers that bid. And then there's a sort of an orange, creamy colored line across for the low price of all the suppliers. It's one supplier. It's TXU, and they are beating the market 5 to 6 tenths of a penny across the board. It's very unusual. I haven't seen it like that. Usually the market sees itself a little closer. And I added, I think the last time we were here, we looked out to 48 or 60 months, but I went ahead and added 72 months for the city to consider. Now, your current contract, if you look up in this upper left-hand corner, your start date for this new contract will be July 1 of 2021. Okay? I know that seems like a long ways out there, but we discussed that in the market. Does anybody have any questions about what we discussed before about a month ago?
Yes, sir.
So what we're talking about here is buying energy for the city of Ballinger to the load zone for up to 6 years into the future, which would really be nearly 9 years total would be protected. And this pricing is to the load zone, includes no congestion. We talked just a moment about that the other day. The contracts you've had up through July 2021, the one that's pending, that's coming on board right now, is Trading Hub. Well, the west zone's having quite a bit of congestion out there due to the massive growth in the Permian Basin that actually creates everybody in the west what's called the West Trading Hub, or the western zone of our power grid. And there are a whole lot of construction projects going on to solve that congestion. Basically, congestion is you got a wire this big and you need a wire this big to carry all the load requirements. That's a problem. So they're reconducting transmission lines and building new transmission circuits out all over that Permian Basin out there, especially in the rural areas, very, very rural areas. This, y'all are fixing to come off a 5.6 cent contract to the trading hub with MP2 Energy. In fact, it starts June 30th, or the next meter read after June 30th. And you're gonna go to a price 4.427 cents, which is to the trading hub, 4.27 cents, which is gonna reduce your cost of energy about 16,000 a year for the 3-year term. So you're gonna, over those 3 years, you're gonna have about 48 or 50,000 reduced spend on electric energy. And then what you would roll into, if you chose to go out 6 years or 5 years, you're gonna roll into around 3.3 cents per kilowatt hour. And that is all into the load zone for those 6 years. So the city of Ballinger would not be carrying the risk of nodal congestion. If you're going out that far, you wouldn't want to carry that risk. The need of the billing you're going to be seeing for May and June is going to show some congestion in there. That you'll probably be noticing because it's been pretty bad the last couple of months. The market, I just can't see it getting much lower. I just can't see any waiting to see if it'll get lower. It's just so low it can hardly support itself right now. And if you would like to know what some other cities have done in recent times as far as the term lengths, I'm happy to share that with you.
As far as the 4, 5, or 6 years?
What they've done on their contracts to term lengths. Like Abilene is January of 27. Albany is January 24. Big Spring is January 26. So cities are buying out forward and long. And these numbers are quite a bit lower than what some of the major cities have bought at. It's just a market timing situation. I would propose, there looks to be a little sweet spot right there at 60 months. If you'll notice, it's the low point, and then when you go to 72, it jumps up about 1/10 of a penny. It's not too much, but that's not all that much money. But that would be about $1,200 a year for the term of the contract. This proposal, if you look down in the yellow line down at the bottom, shows by term what the city of Ballinger will pay through that term, will reduce their spend off the 4.427 contract. So if you chose 6 years or 72 months, you would reduce your spend about $85,000 approximately over those 6 years. About 16,000 a year. It's about the same kind of jump you're fixing to take down right now. Your cost of energy. And I really have no other formal remarks to provide you. These numbers are not executable tonight. That's one thing I'll caution you. when you make your decision on term and supplier, it's on that day's, that we execute to market condition at that point in time. Is there any questions?
So if we decided to deny it, you wouldn't want to take tomorrow's rate, so basically what you said?
If you decide tonight and you can execute tomorrow morning, tonight on the way home, I would request pricing for the exact term and the exact supply. And we would have pricing probably about 10, market opens about 9:30. So probably would have pricing and contracts between 10 a.m. and noon. And they are time sensitive. They have to be returned for processing by 3:30, 4 p.m.
You wouldn't anticipate a huge change.
Wouldn't think so, unless TXU made a mistake here. These are extremely low numbers. And extremely low in comparison to the market differential for the other suppliers.
We'd hate to have it executed and all of a sudden we find it jumped up to 0.04.
Oh, if you execute a contract and it gets processed and booked, they can't do that. The only way your price of energy can change is through a change in law from the Public Utility Commission and those who regulate it. Or if your supplier went bankrupt and you got thrown back into the market because they went bankrupt. And I don't suggest that that's a possibility with TXU there.
If there's a change in the law or goes bankrupt, of course, we can terminate the contract.
Say again, sir?
If there's a change in the law that increases our rate, we can terminate the contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I mean, it's all, to me, it always comes both ways. If they can change their price at that point, we would evaluate their increase.
That you will not find any supply contract. Because if the suppliers are at the mercy of our oversight groups, which are the Public Utility Commission of Texas and ERCOT. And if something changes where they have to invoke a change in the way all the ancillary services are provided and or any kind of capacity type issues, they can do that. That's part of the marketplace.
Well, if you tie something to a long-term contract and in the middle of changing the ordinance is the right to get out, if they're not happy with that, that should be the issue. I mean, I've negotiated contracts like that. You may not have, but I have. I mean, to me, you're saying you can have your cake. What do we get? What if somebody's lower now, and now with this change, does it have protections on how they can ratchet the price up? Is it only for particular things? Is there a window of how much they go up? I mean, it's all one-sided.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It is one-sided. These contracts, they try to make them as bilateral as possible. They try to protect both the consumer and the supplier, but the supplier is taking a massive proportion of the risk. And I don't work for a supplier, but I did for many, many years. They take a massive risk on them when they tie into one of these long-term commodity contracts for any kind of default that could occur on the consumer side. But the supplier is sitting there, and if the marketplace, the PUC or ERCOT have to make an adjustment in the market, and they do it, then suppliers they have to be able to modify their contract to recover those losses. suppliers make extremely thin margins on large valve contracts.
What you're really saying is we enter into a long-term contract and they change it, we have no recourse.
Yes, sir, unless I mean, I never say never, but if it were something gross and all consumers in the state of Texas would have something to say about it, might have some recourse. But it's in that clause is just about in every contract I've seen. Change the law. I don't want to brush over anything like that. It's an important part of that.
I guess we just have to give it some thought.
Is that your recommendation?
Oh, I don't mean to not do it, I just said that's always the sore spot for me, is that, you know, I mean, it's mainly because of I haven't seen the change in law provisions, they're so open-ended. You know, if you say change in law applicable to, you know, everybody, other customer, that's not good. I mean, they use a lot more discretion to it than that. I mean, it's, I just have to see the language. That's just part of what bothers me, because if indeed it went up under TXUs, it may not be the same amount increased by another supplier. And so, you know, then now we've got a market price that's out of whack. And I just been through a city that had signed a 10-year contract. The day they signed it, it was the lowest rate in Texas. And then natural gas prices dropped by the end of the month. Now we have the highest price in the state of Texas for 10 years. And the citizens just about were mutiny and energy over that price. So I'm very sensitive to long-term prices because, again, I agree with you. I don't see the market has gotten low. However, I thought it had bottomed last year. Now it's gotten lower. What if it goes lower? Our prices may be decent, may not be the best.
That's a valid concern. It's a risk every consumer takes, is that the market will drop behind where they marked, just as it has on your current contract. You marked at 5.6, and look what we're talking about today. You know, and then Mr. Grimes marked at 4.4 a couple of years ago, and look where that is in comparison to that. Although I will tell you this, you are hedged through 2018 and 19 with the contract that Mr. Grimes executed with Reliant. If 2018 and 2019 were in these numbers, we would be talking about a whole different set of numbers. And you're hedged through that. 2018 is, you got some horrific numbers in it. 2019 is a little gentler, and then 2020 it settles down, flattens out. I appreciate your concerns that it is a risk the consumer takes as to when to mark, when to buy.
But
I can tell you, I think there's no way we won't beat the market at these kind of numbers. I can't promise it, but the market's got to go up. Natural gas can't continue to go down that much. I mean, it is a very low.
just make sure that I'm clear, if they went in and changed the law and everything, would that be applied to all the companies, not just Reliant or TXU or whoever it would apply to all?
Every retail
No matter
supplier.
what contract it is.
Yes, sir, excuse me for interrupting. Every retail supplier would have to deal with the change, and I can't say 100% of them would invoke change of law, but probably. So it wouldn't matter. So the change in laws really should be a supplier independent issue.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions, concerns, comments?
What would you suggest, a longer term or short term, or take a look at it on our own later and?
You know, the rates are good, but again, it's purely, what I've learned through my years of doing this is that not to go out too far. Again, I know Abilene's got a different approach. Brownville's been a member of Ex Coalition of Forward Power for years, and we've always been, 2 to 4 years is as far as we go, just because the market is so unpredictable. The way you look at this is two ways. The longer you go out at this price, if you're satisfied with it, then budget, at least budget-wise, you have consistency. That's an advantage for cities. Cities, sometimes cities don't, you don't take a lot of risk just to save a nickel, because at the end of the day, you want consistency for your citizens and taxpayers. That's why you do sign contracts, you're buying on the spot market every day. Just saying everybody you could, because when it goes up. You're not going to get a bad price here at that price. So if you want to do long term, it's up to you. To me, 3 years out, that's almost 6 years from now. That's a long time, 36 months. Again, I'm not an electric expert. He is, and that's just something you have to get comfortable with. I just, like I said, I just think that's 5 or 6 years out. Basically, if we pick 36 months, that's 6 years out from now.
Basically, 6 years out.
That's a long time.
6 years would, the 36-month term protects you into 2024. Mid-2024.
And the city manager approved that agreement without city council approval? No agreement?
The one that's coming up, the one's way we understand it. Well, that's your understanding, Sam?
We had to go to Reliant to find that contract. For all I know, there was no reference to it in the city hall. Is that not correct?
Did you say we have a copy of it?
Yeah, we have power now.
We did.
We didn't at the time.
The last time I was gonna look at that I already did a copy of the contract. If I can get a copy of it, I'd like to see what it says in there about what we did. Sometimes I'll say in the fall over the governing body and things like that.
Okay.
But if we get this in place now, I'd rather get it now. I don't know what our chances are of breaking the deal, but,
I would caution you against, if I can just stand up and say something about that. It wasn't a great price when it was bought. We were seeing prices much lower than that. But it was bought when 2018, 2019, and 2020 were low. Right now, if that contract, even if there were an exit opportunity and you went in and priced 18, 19, and 20, you'd see a big difference in these numbers. And if you were just buying a 3-year term, it'd be a real big difference.
When you're saying big, are you talking a higher difference?
Higher.
Higher,
Yes, I think you would. So, I'd just throw that out there because the market in close, 2018, 2019, is nothing compared to what you're looking at out here in these out years. Okay.
So 18, 19's in the fives, better. 18 and 19's in the 5-cent range or better.
If you were just buying the balance of 18 right now and maybe in through 19, probably be looking at 5 to 5.8, somewhere in there.
Right up near
I mean,
six.
that's just me off the top of my head.
Right. Thoughts, comments, concerns?
I'm gonna patch the man with the experience in here. I think he's kind of leaning toward a 3-year, aren't you, Pat?
First, I think he wants to see whatever we have.
Well,
And
I-
understanding what Bob has said,
Well,
is
I
also,
think the problem is that, you know, you're talking about to try to avoid that contract with the bad oil.
right,
So, yeah,
that'll end penalties,
yeah. Well, I don't know what the agreement says.
right.
You know, I mean, typically, I mean, it usually says, you know, the governing body has posted this, and had no agreement, essentially, it would be an agreement that's void for, you know, not having the authorized fruit. You know, be like no different than if Randy right now just signed an agreement to the city, and nobody knew about it, and, you know, sent it off to somebody.
Surprise.
And he didn't have the authority.
How many times that happens?
Are you bound by it?
Go ahead.
There's generally nothing. And entities are bound by law to know what the authority of, in other words, you don't just, I happen to see a low-level employee and say, hey, sign this right here, you know, well, we got the city, and that's not how it works.
Gotcha.
By our code, it says y'all are the governing body, you have powers to bind by contract.
Okay.
Well, that's specifically delegated to other people. So anyway, all of it said, I mean, like I said, I think that, you know, I don't think you can go wrong here. I don't think your rates are that high or out of whack. I mean, unless the market bottoms out. So, I mean, I think 6 years out is a long time. That's that would give us 3 years of budget consistency and market drops further, we can get out in the next year. That's just picking, like I said, I think that's kind of a middle of the road approach, basically.
Well, I think just kind of, just kind of take it under advisement until Pat has an opportunity to study what we've got. You can go from there.
Well, and considering what he said, I don't think studying is gonna make a difference as far as what we have.
We're not really talking about who can sign and who can't.
But we already know
Yeah,
that.
he found out when he got out of it, he said the rates were higher anyway.
Right,
So as long as it was in a good get out of it.
and then the penalty you pay to do it,
Well, I wouldn't have penalty, but it'd be a lawsuit probably.
that's penalty enough.
Yeah. Expense, yeah.
Because that's usually more than the penalty.
So,
There are pretty harsh default penalties in these commodity contracts.
Yeah.
They're pretty harsh, especially for commercial.
Yep.
Not so much for residential.
Right.
But I guess what I was really getting at is not that so much as the case of who could sign the contract if we decided to go.
yeah. Well, what your action on that would be is that basically we approve a 36-month term, and we authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. So,
Or the city manager. Or the city
on
manager.
the signature.
That's going to school.
Yes.
I mean, have some
Let's
clarification.
authorize him to sign it, and if tomorrow, if he delivers it to you, and it's higher than,
If it's what we
after he
do.
gets the price numbers quotes tomorrow, if they're higher, then you can decide whether or not you want, allow that or not.
or bring it back to council for decision.
That's correct. Until you sign it and we send it in and process it, it is not a deal. It's not a contract.
So am I hearing from council they're okay to move forward with this, but they don't want to do the 6 or the 60 month or 72 month, but probably the 36 or the 48?
I'm on board with that with Pat.
Okay.
Take Pat's side on that.
I'm asking.
No, I am, and he's speaking some logic a long time now.
Yes. Yes.
We'll make a motion to enter the contract at 36 months fixed rate
That's that. With,
with priority power management, with THU as a supplier.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. TX, you don't have to be the one you're contracting.
Right, we specify.
We already have an agreement.
Correct. With us.
We
Correct.
authorize, in addendum, that you move, that you authorize the city manager to sign the agreement, how you make the manager do it
Okay. Do it.
tomorrow. Authorize the city manager to sign all agreements.
Right, and we'd also make a motion to authorize the city manager to sign those agreements
Okay. You have a second?
unless,
Unless-
unless the numbers come back different tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
They come back to us.
And if he doesn't want to, he'll call him.
Right.
And Bob was the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right.
I'm gonna do that one.
Yep, yep. Thank you, Bob. Sorry for that.
Thank you all very much.
Yes, sir.
I'll hear from you tomorrow.
You will hear from him sometime between 10 and noon, I hope.
Okay.
All goes well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Have a good evening. Be careful. Thank you. All right, city may consider, discuss, or take action on approval on a presentation from students with the Texas Midwest Community Network for proposed improvements to the city park. Good evening, ma'am.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
You're awesome. We're good.
Hi, my name is Brandon Nicholas, and I'm a member of the Ballinger High School Junior Chambers and the Texas Midwest Community Network Youth Leadership Project. I have two other partners in this project, David Wilburn and Cody Harrell, which they are not here tonight.
Sorry, I didn't tell you.
Oh. They're not here tonight because they're playing 7-on-7 football. The TMCN challenged youth to take on a project to their hometown to benefit the town. They encourage us to reach out to various groups in our community to help with the project. This enables us to learn the importance of involvement in our community and to help us become more aware of what makes small towns like Ballinger such a great place to live. I'm here tonight to present to you our project idea and to ask you to help with that project. Ballinger has one of the nicest city parks I've ever seen, but having such a nice park involves a lot of maintenance. And as we were driving through, we noticed that there needs to be a lot of repainting. As you can see in the Indian Hill, and as the park benches, and the awnings, and the picnic tables, and some of the basketball poles, and the ball thing that we have no idea how the game works. And some of the equipment for just playground equipment, I guess, and parking more second benches. And then swing sets, and don't know about the rocks yet. We'll figure that out. And my partners and I would like to reach out to other groups here in Ballinger, such as the Chamber of Commerce, Ballinger 4-H, Lions Club, Rotary Club, various other high school groups, and local churches. We're going to ask them to help supply the volunteer labor of our project to repaint the areas of the park need repainting. We would like to set up dates to paint and to get as many people down in the park to help as possible. The second part of our project involves exercise equipment. Many people in our park exercise by walking or running. We would also like to put in some outdoor exercise equipment to give access to exercise equipment that people otherwise might not have access to. We're thinking of a good location for this equipment would be across from the pool entrance. As you come in down to the hill, it would be across the hill. However, we're open to any suggestions if this location is not good. We're going to be reaching out to the community for fundraisers to be able to purchase some of the equipment that will be placed in our park. Here are some examples of what we're looking at. We have not finalized the company that we would want to be purchasing from. Those decisions will be made after we see how much support we can get from our community groups. The awnings and all the exercise equipment. And I'm asking your help today for our project by providing the paint and supplies. If we provide the labor for the paint, the areas of the park that needs to be painted, we'll let you pick whatever colors you want. And I'm also seeking your help in the acquisition of the exercise equipment for an exercise area of the park. We'll take any and all donations. Any questions?
Is this basically the company that you're looking at as far as doing the outside exercise equipment? Or are you looking at various companies?
This is just for mostly single equipment, but we've also found other companies that have bigger as a unit together. That'd be just to see how much support that we get and how much fundraising.
When you say a unit, are you talking a package deal or a kit?
Yes, it's like a small one, so you either have like 6 different pieces of equipment like this, and then you just come all together as a purchase.
So you're purchasing basically a package deal, and then we install it.
Like a bolt, maybe.
Yeah.
Have y'all looked at grants or anything like that through various parts of wildlife equipment?
No, we have not. We have not looked at grants right now. We're just trying to get everything approved, and from there, we're going to be opening up to all types of grants and fundraising and seeing what we can do to make this happen.
There's a lady in K. Howard that has a grant company, running a company, Paul uses, and she's very good.
Who have y'all used? And y'all used to
We've used a guy, but we quit using it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it's still.
She'd be worth it once you decide what you want to do.
Yes, ma'am.
If I may, as far as the awnings and covers, there are dermatologist grants that you can apply for because they're big into the shade.
Mhm.
Because we were gonna check into that when we move the equipment, if we ever get to move the equipment out to the lake.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and also I visited with Terry Harrell this morning, and she's mentoring this group, and we discussed them not painting yet, anyway, the Imagination Station.
Okay.
Because those of you that were involved in it before, it's a special paint, you know, because of the material that it's
Right.
made out of.
They
So
won't contact otherwise.
they wouldn't do that right now, is what Mrs. Harrell told me. So.
If you do the exercise thing, who does the upkeep on that?
It becomes part of the park, therefore park takes care of
The
it.
city has to maintain that at all times.
Same thing with the
They're pretty
Indian.
rugged machines, though. I've seen these in play before.
Yeah,
They're
they're
pretty
pretty
rugged.
solid.
I mean, you have to actually attempt to destroy it.
Yeah, it's all part of the park. I mean, we had to do the same thing with the Indian when they donated it. We take care of the hill, the other stuff that's in the park. The light that's on the Indian, you know, we actually put that in. That's all part of electricity.
And that's fine. I just-
We acquire some of those things,
Yes,
but
sir.
the kids do a lot of the labor and a lot of the setup, and it's good.
I
for
like
them.
the idea. I actually thought these around were pretty cool.
Yeah. I like it. It was mentioned to us a couple weeks ago, but we didn't know if anybody's going to come forward with it. I think Richard Farah mentioned something like that last year, the year
Yes,
before.
thank you.
Okay. The area that they're looking at, I have no problem with. That's just the old water treatment plant area.
Yeah, it's kind of empty.
Yeah.
You need something.
If we
But it's kind of,
we did that there, you may need to look into some more rocks, barricade, because
Yeah.
right now there's a car could swing through that.
oh yeah, we have plenty of the rocks we took
Yeah,
out of there.
pile some more rocks up. I'll paint new rocks.
We got rocks. We don't want to paint the rocks out. Our guys will probably want to put in 6-inch pipe. They're tired of the
Yeah, need
rocks.
something, I think, just to keep the car from
Well, there's no problem there as far as protecting it, but as far as the rocks, they have to be a maintenance issue,
Yeah.
you know, between the roundup, the trimming and everything else. What colors y'all have decided? We don't have to decide on all this. Y'all are the youth, you know. The colors that are down there are some of them yellow, red, some blue, some different colors. I mean,
We're just really trying to find the equipment that we can afford with everything that we can. And if we need to, if we want to be like, this is a really ugly color, then we could fix that. We can probably most likely customize these for coloring. And so we have lots of options. So probably maybe we could stick with bright colors, but it's really up to what we can see.
I have no problem with the bright colors. I have no problem with different colors. We do need to use probably some better paint. I don't know in the past we've used because this just looks like it's piled on and some of it's not adhering or staining.
Some of that stuff down there, I get that.
Yeah, it's pretty thick. And you're talking down in the park. I saw when you first started, you actually had the city park sign up there.
Yes, we were also wanting to repaint all of the swing sets, all of the picnic tables that need to be repainted, some of the equipment, the awnings, like we wanted to repaint the ball game that no one knows how to play, and the poles for the basketball goals, and potentially the hill, and of course like picnic benches, like the benches.
Now that bench right there is actually a poly-coated bench. It's not really one, it's actually in mold.
Oh.
So that's actually a plastic polymer that's on top of that in the expanded metal. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. So some of those like that, you're not gonna be able to get paint to stay on. That's the color they came.
What about the main, you were asking about the city?
Yeah,
The
the city
park.
sign,
Oh.
you have that?
The very,
Thank you.
You want to paint that?
There you go.
both, if we can. If
We
if
need
y'all
some
are,
equipment down there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, for the fire department?
Yeah. For fire department. Yes, sir.
Yes, I love truck. I'll tell you, I would love to redo both of those entrance, signs, you know,
When you say redo, are you talking
completely do something else.
not rehab what we have, but change what we have?
Plan, yeah, do something else. Just a thought.
What do you think about that? Did you bring some more funds with it?
I mean, whatever we need to do, we
What
gotta
do
do
you have
it.
in mind, Steve? I mean, what?
Oh, I don't know, I just, you know, I guess I just started looking at it.
We've talked about trying to clean them and paint them for the last few years. We got that done.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't pick out a color that was gonna be,
And replacing the lights and
Yes.
such, you know.
Yep.
But
we talked about doing LEDs across there or something. Well, we hadn't got anywhere with that. It's been a thought, it's been something we've talked about, but it hasn't really taken any action. How's that?
Well, again, they can come up with a design.
Look good.
Yeah,
Look at, you know.
let's do that. How about y'all come up with something as far as a design? If you want to change it or do something different, why don't y'all work on that? Y'all have a lot of artistic ability and a lot of different things y'all have at your, fingertips, I think. Yes? You agree? Okay.
And one thing you might do too, keep in mind, is incorporate some gates,
Yes.
so we can get away from the chain.
We've talked about doing that as far as a gate at each end where we can actually close the park when we need to close the park. Because there are times when it's raining heavily or we're doing an event or something like that. We put that chain up there and it's not near as effective if we have a gate or something like that. So if you keep that in your mind as far as whatever y'all come up with is looking at that.
Yes, sir.
She's smiling, but I don't know.
Oh, we can load you with all kinds.
Yeah. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns?
So are we okay providing, she said materials and paint, right?
We do have the paint, rollers, paintbrushes, and paint.
But all the other stuff, the equipment, the new sign, the new entrances, that would be grant donation, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Well, grant donations and whatever they might bring to us.
Right.
If they bring us something that we agree upon or our crews can do, or we can get the materials and
Okay.
they can kind of build a blueprint or a graph or whatever they want.
Are you okay with that, Ray?
I'm more than okay with that, yes.
we're gonna
You're
be.
coming to our meeting on the
Pick out
17th,
colors
so.
I want.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Let's just go crazy. Let's just
Yeah.
make it a place where people are gonna come down and say.
Well, it's already we get a lot of comments on our park, and it's
Yeah.
one of the better parks in the area. We have people that travel through all the time, we get a lot of compliments. But when we see it, we see the same old stuff, you know. The guys have done a lot of stuff on the streets, they're gonna do more stuff on the streets this year down there. We've hauled a lot of the rocks out of there. They did the picnic tables this year, where they did a lot of, you know, swapping around, cleaning them up.
Yeah, we got rid of a lot of people's gonna come up with some ideas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Open it up and let them go.
I also told Mrs. Carroll about the park down by Tolliver's
Okay?
and how nice the sign would be there, you know, again, so people know it's there. Travelers,
I know.
they pull into Ossops, get some chips, soda, and go down there and stretch.
What we have to do is, if the city's a part of that, our pole is gonna have to be back over on Oliver's property and then come back over to the states, because that's state property.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, didn't we check into that one time and the state they didn't want us to put a sign out there?
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan told me 3 or 4 times that he was working on that, so.
Yeah.
Well, you can ask the state, or we can go ask our own office.
He was gonna talk to Mark Hoffman.
He was?
He was.
Okay. Well, I was dealing with Francis on this other stuff as far as what we did down on the streets, back and forth. But the state has really pulled back as far as legislature and signage.
Oh, yeah.
They've pulled back a lot.
State, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
The other day I was down at the park and the kids, it was closing time, the kids were all leaving. And there were cars, like teenagers, and they were just really, it was like a Camaro, like racing right past the pool. And there's no speed bumps down there anymore. Are they putting this back or what?
Speed bumps are gonna come back when they do the other repairs. And we also have the speed limit signs down there, as well as the officers can also patrol down there. We have had officers down there radaring at times.
I figured they'd come back. I thought it might be a road thing.
Steve, did we get the signs yet that report suspicious activity?
Paul pick up. He got me pick up.
Okay. Okay.
How do we do that as far as them doing the paint and stuff?
You're going to approve the cost plan at the Midwest Network.
Okay. All right. All right, then. Need a motion to accept approval on the presentation of the students with the Texas Midwest Community Network for proposed improvements to the city park as far as the city supplying paint, brushes, rollers, good paint? Good paint, okay. And colors that you all choose. They're not totally, on another planet. How's that? We want them to look good, we want them to be bright. How's that? All right? And not all over the park. Meaning, what I'm saying? Still paint here, there, and everywhere else. Added to it. You all okay with that?
Nice, neat job that looks good,
Yeah.
that people are gonna enjoy when they go down.
Yes, sir.
All right, I have a motion to accept it.
I'll make that motion.
All right, have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your time.
I think we ought to applaud the young lady. I think she did a very good.
Absolutely. And you tell those other two that, skipped out on you. All right, moving along. The City Council may consider, discuss, or take action on approval of contract with Runnels County for joint election services. You should have this in your packet. Thank you, Ms. Paske.
Thank you.
Is this the same one, though? Have they changed it? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Will this be specific to just this one election, or are we gonna do this for
This basically comes out pretty much annually. So basically, we're making, all of our county agreements are pretty much ending. So every time that they're about to end, we actually get them again, and we go through them again every year.
That's when we hold our elections, is in November.
We do, yes. We changed to November 7 years ago in order to try to generate more participation, because that was pretty much the time that everybody comes out, and then you have your presidential election every 4 years. So it actually worked. The first time it worked, we actually had almost twice participation that we had previously, if not more. Any questions concerning the contract? Or y'all still reviewing? Sorry.
That was, again, opportunity.
It's fine.
It's fine? Yep. All right. Motion to accept the Runnels County Joint Election Services.
Make the motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All righty. We're falling out on our last, just letting you know that. All right. City Council may consider, discuss, or take action on approval of amending the gaming ordinance. And I believe you should have that. Is there any?
I need to walk you through a little bit.
Please do.
Looking at our old ordinance, in our old ordinance, we defined it as sweeps. What we're talking about is these games. Primarily the sweepstakes video game is what we were talking about earlier. Later in the ordinance, we say we did not allow 8-liners. 8-liners by law are not illegal. It all depends on what you're giving away. So I changed the new nomenclature and name that most of the cities, and what I redefined as sweepstakes video game, to call amusement redemption machines. And you'll see the new definition there under the definitions on 516. And basically, it's a little broader definition. It could be 8-line. At the end of the day, it has to be a legal machine, and you can only give away what's authorized by law. So our ordinance didn't really say that before, but ultimately, whatever their game room machine is, it can't be given out cash. It has to be given out nominal value items, and that's what we've stated here in this definition change of amusement redemption machines. As you'll notice there, it excludes certain machines. For example, like claws, things like that, which are just, those are kiddie type games, which would not come within that amusement redemption machine definition. Any kind of thing you throw darts or things like that at, those are games that still a little different. And again, you can't have your whatever machine you have, it can't be a gambling device. It can't be given cash money, and otherwise it's going to fall within the gambling statute, that chapter, Penal Code section 47, chapter 47. So that's what I changed. That sort of permeated the entire ordinance. Then the next change you see in hours of operation, we did not have a limitation on the operation of the game. So I changed that. It made it the same as the other one. If you want to change that, we can. But basically, they have shut down at midnight. They can open up back at 7, except for Sundays, where your hours of operation are 1 p.m. to 7. But we did not have the sweepstakes video games in the hours of operation. I don't know why. The restrictions, I amended that too, again, to add that, change that definition from the sweepstakes video game. But the key things I added, and these will be grandfathered in for any establishments currently in operation, and that continuously operate by renewal. Basically, that I added in here that that you cannot have a game room located within 500 feet of another game room.
Let me ask you one question. Since there's a sentence above where it says can be no other buildings connected or immediately adjacent. What is your definition of immediately adjacent? Would that be sharing a wall, or would that be within a certain distance, or two walls that you can't walk between?
Yeah, I mean, that would be, connected obviously would be a shared wall. Immediately adjacent would be, immediately adjacent, I would guess would be almost,
Touching.
yeah.
Can't walk between them.
Yeah.
So
Do you have buildings like that?
we do, because
I didn't change it, that's what the word.
this was still in our previous ordinance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the last hearing that opened is, in my mind, immediately adjacent to another business. Because you can't walk between the two buildings, but they're about not all that far, right? But it was approved and allowed, and it's talking about.
They're not sharing a wall.
It's not sharing a wall, but it is immediately adjacent in my mind. So in my mind, that one should have met that requirement and never been approved. I wasn't on the council at the time to bring that up. I don't know if there's anything to be done about that.
Well, if we license them, when they, and we'll get to that in a minute,
Okay.
the licenses expire on December 31st of each year. So then they have to get a renewal license, they have to go back through it. Now, for those types of since we said that essentially your grandfather, we made a mistake, and I don't think I can go back on it, we allow them to operate once they make that commitment.
We can be a little more aware of the next step.
Yeah, we just have to be, we have to know what the terms of ordinance and apply it as we consider the applications. So that's a key thing there is the 500 feet difference there. Under the unrestricted 522, I'm just going down through the ordinance real briefly. I just beefed up, basically making it clear that the law enforcement, the city council, and city agents have the right to look inside the building, immediate access, and the right to inspect. We had that, just a little briefer release.
Okay.
A key change under section 523 is I added that an amusement redemption machine game room shall have a licensed security guard on premises during the outdoor operation. So that's a key change. The under the application provision 532 and 533 contents, I deleted the provision where we have our application that a donation to charity may be indicated, mainly because it's not required in our ordinance that they give to a charity. Obviously, they do what they can, but we don't require an ordinance, so I just felt like that was something that was so I didn't really change much from that part of it. More for 535. Under the denial provisions, I try to make it clear that if you are currently under investigation for operating a legal gambling device, if you've just been shut down, for example, and you're under investigation, we can deny it based upon that until they're cleared. They've been convicted of operating a legal gambling device. In other words, in this type of setting, then we can deny it. If they don't complete the application, we can deny it. If they don't provide all the information, that's what we had. If you notice, the last two times, we had at least one key part of the application does not have that in there. So I wouldn't even turn it over to, because you'll see here in a minute, the investigation, which is under 535. I think that was a key change from that, which is we turn it over to the police chief instead of the city. I mean, it's probably what the city administrator would do anyway. But basically, once we get these, they automatically should be referred to the police chief. He'll do the investigation. But if it is an incomplete application, his response should be is it's an incomplete application. It's denied, period. That way, it short circuits. If they don't fill out all the information like they're required to, then they don't get a license. The tax, 537, I added paragraph B. Under the statute, we're allowed to get 25% of the occupation tax charged by the state. So that's different than what we had before. So I added that as well. And then I put a license fee just for the amusement redemption game rooms of $250. And so that would allow us to recoup some of the cost of all the investigation and things like that. That's in 538A. And it basically says, I kept, the B part was what we had, which is expires on the 31st day of December upon the day of issuance. So then you have to, what I would add, and this is, let me just read it to you, is we need to establish in here the renewal license. And so at the end of that, upon the, no later than 10 days after the expiration of the annual license, then the person shall apply for renewal in the same manner as the original license by filing an application. Person fails to apply for renewal within 10 days, the business shall cease operations until the renewal license is granted. And the renewal license fee shall be 1/2 the amount of the initial amount annual license fee. So it'll be $125 for all renewals.
So you have that on your copy.
I wrote that in, that's one, I added that in, it's one second, you need to add in renewal provisions.
Okay.
And then, if you'll notice there, under 543, the grandfather clause, the location restrictions, which is the 500-foot, and the requirements to employ a licensed security guard shall not apply to amusement redemption machine game rooms currently in operation at the time of enactment of this ordinance. And then here's another adder, and that stay continuously in operation pursuant to the terms of, so they continue to apply for renewals, they won't have to comply with those provisions. If they stop operating, then they will kick in whatever is in effect.
So it's grandfathered if they're already in, but then not.
That's pretty standard by law, or can you not, on their renewal, make them follow this new ordinance?
You can make a call if you want to. I thought y'all said last time the ones that had already in operation, y'all had made certain, obviously the location requirements, you wouldn't apply to those.
Right.
In and out. As far as the security guard, you could, but again,
You could, personally, but I don't know what everybody else thinks. Opinions? Make the renewals also enact the part with the security guard?
To the current businesses,
Yeah, the current ones, what do you think on that?
that's kind of tough, isn't it?
It is, it's a little tough,
Well,
but
the guy down here, Jason, has been there so long, what is it, piggyback with?
yeah.
Yeah, he gives a large sum of his money to children's diabetes or something. I'd hate to affect that.
Right.
With any additional expenditure, and I think he's been honest and ethical with his business and everything. But I certainly think a new business should.
Yeah, for sure on the new ones.
And Pat, aren't you a little light on the $10 per machine?
that's what was in there before.
That was before he's actually up there.
Oh, okay.
And those are for all things except for the amusement machines we're talking about. So then that's the.
A lot of cities will do $100 or even up to $1,000 for electronic machines.
You're talking about license fees, the occupation
I'm
tax.
talking about the fee per machine.
It's set by statute, that's the maximum.
Okay.
So, but I don't, on those others, those are low, but those are pool tables, billiard tables, pinball machines. If you want to change those, I was looking more towards just the, what we call the considerable government type stuff.
I don't do this, but I can't understand 15 minutes to midnight sitting in there trying to win a teapot. I can't get my head around that.
Well, already good.
Well, it must be an addiction.
I've polled a few citizens that use those machines, and they're not getting teapots.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Are they getting
Yeah,
that?
they are getting green cash.
Really?
Yes, sir. They are being handed cash as prizes.
Yeah,
I just asked last week one of our citizens, and he even told me he had someone, I bumped into him.
I'll bring books back because.
Pat, I'd like to follow up on something Jason brought up the other night. I think these shaded windows, I've had complaints about that. There ought to be some way that all activity within the building should be visible from the street. Jason brought that up.
Yeah, that one on 7th Street blacked out all their windows.
That's right.
They may say because of the sun, which it may be, I mean, it's.
The ones on 7th are, but then the ones on
South 7th.
Sealy, you can actually see in, she has stuff hanging.
Yeah, but that thing, I know, like a half a window there.
I asked, no, I glanced over there one day when I was
Yeah, that's the same That ceiling side is where that adjacent wall would be.
It's where you first get in the vehicles during the day, but it's always loaded at night.
Is the entry door transparent? Or is it?
Go back and look.
That's what some of the ordinances has said, the entrance door of game room should be totally transparent.
I believe it's black.
You, what?
I had a call today, Jason, from a lady said they were blacked out.
Yeah.
Citizens said they were blacked out.
Someone pointed it out to me too, and I noticed it, because
She had a problem.
I didn't want that one open.
Well, let's amend the ordinance and provide the entry door of the game room shall be totally transparent and a clear, unobstructed view of the interior of the game room.
Only the entry door.
And I think that's
Okay.
probably
You have something to say, sir?
Yes, I do. Well, since I'm here on behalf of Chris and the company, where does that leave the company that's trying to open now? You know, we went by the ordinance. That's why we were here, is because there was already an ordinance sent. Excuse me?
didn't complete your application.
Well, y'all had done a background check, and the question that was on there was if he's had a conviction. The first time that we came, y'all had cleared that with this gentleman. I think he had asked, and y'all said that he had to clear.
I just said that.
No.
Y'all didn't run a background check on Chris?
Nobody said
If
he
you
was
do
doing
it whether we did or not, the fact is, your application was incomplete, and that was why it was denied.
It's
I never knew
clear.
that it was denied. I just know that y'all kept on, moving it to the next agenda and to the, but see, the thing is, there was an ordinance, we were here because of that. There was some citizens here that were asking how we were able to operate. And they were unaware of the ordinance that was already set. So when I came, I spoke with this gentleman, the ordinance was already there, and we had complied with everything that was on there. You know, the one thing that y'all had asked for is the background check, which was the main thing. And, if we have felonies, I know that there was a citizen that brought over an article that had stated, there was a raid on the game room, but that's a sealed case. There was no convictions, and if you look at the date of that article, that's well over a year ago. There's no convictions, there was no charges.
You didn't complete the application, well, we have, unless you completed another one.
Well, we had brought it back. Y'all had asked me to complete it, I completed it, we brought it back to Bo. And, if that's the case, we took care of it.
The second one was not
There
completed.
was a blank line on one part, the last one I saw.
Are y'all talking about the donations, who we were gonna donate to?
No, we're not talking about that, we're talking about that you brought.
Well, it was a yes and no question. It was Chris had any
It
convictions.
was both of them were incomplete, there was a blank, it was that blank, it was not answered, the question was not answered.
And the question was if he had a conviction, right?
I believe that's
From what we recall,
Been charged
About what?
with.
Is
or
it had a
convicted
conviction?
He's got,
it was a yes or no question, and it was if he had a conviction, and we had brought that back, the following day after Bo had given it back.
That's not the question. It says, have you ever been charged with or convicted of felony?
Right, when we brought that back, we had stated no on the application. Well, the day that I was here, he didn't write it in because y'all were gonna do a background check. Well, when she gave me the application, I brought it back, and he had filled it out with a no. I think you're looking at a copy that y'all had made before I brought it back.
I don't agree with that. Maybe I do.
But the fact
I
that
I came back and I gave it to Bo, and it
the
was
fact that it wasn't complete the very first time allows us to reject it.
well, what's stated now, what I heard just now, but it wasn't.
It was stated in the previous, if it was not complete at the previous, then it was allowed to be rejected at that time.
Okay. Well, I never knew of a rejection. It was always postpone. It was just here, fill it out, and bring it back, and we did just that.
Okay.
So now that that's been resolved, I just want to push forward with, what's going to happen. We're spending a lot of money, and that's our concern. That's what made me nervous last time, is because I got a company that's spending money here, and it's $1,500 in rent that we're paying, and that's a lot of money, especially, for Ballinger. But that's the kind of building that we got. That's the kind of place, that's what I was explaining to the realtor. That's the kind of place that we opened up. She had took me to another building that was torn down, no parking and all that, but I didn't want it because, or the company didn't want it because that's the kind of places that we open up. We want standalone buildings that have, that have parking for the customers that doesn't just look crammed in, unprofessional, it just looks, I think, terrible. So that's why we spent the money that we did, so we can have a professional looking building establishment. here in Ballinger.
Well, I
You know,
wouldn't,
we-
I wouldn't
I-
spend any money until you get a license.
Right.
That's the way ordinances stuff.
Well, that's why I had spoke with the gentleman, and he was just like, well, this is all y'all have to do. And so we were fully aware of that. And I've dealt with everything that you had just spoken about in your new work. We've dealt with everything. I've dealt with everything. And as far as the whole cash deal that you are doing now, where they can't, I think every single game room here is paying cash. So what are y'all going to do about that? Are y'all just going to tell them to stop paying cash?
I think we should.
Shut them down if we catch it.
Well, see, our last place was a redemption center. We didn't pay cash. That's why there was no charges. That's why there was no convictions. And the only reason, San Angelo is the only place that we operated without an ordinance being set, because the chief of police before that just didn't mind. So we ran there for 5 years without an ordinance being set. Every city that we go to has an ordinance, and we go by the ordinance. That's how we're able to open up, and that's how we're able to operate. I won't go into a city that doesn't have an ordinance. San Angelo is the only place. That's why that article even came about. And when we got shut down, they had since they had allowed it, they had allowed all 30 game rooms. They gave them, I think, 30 days to shut down. Well, us knowing what we know, we went ahead and did a redemption center, which was a bunch of prizes, and that's all we did. And the customers were okay. At first, we thought, it was going to go bad, but the customers were okay with it. And it actually was electronics and just different items that we had, and that's why there was no convictions, because when they came and shut us down, it was a city council deal. It was a city council meeting that said, okay, we just don't want anything, with gaming inside San Angelo, but they put that in the ordinance. And that's why we got shut down, but at the same time, there was no convictions and there was no charges. And that's why I'm operating.
Conviction and the charges are irrelevant. Basically, if there were gaming rooms in San Angelo, there were gaming rooms in Abilene, in both cities, much larger than Ballinger, shut them down or asked them to quit being here, pushed them out, or did whichever, that doesn't mean that the smaller communities around are just not going to allow it.
Well, absolutely. And I'm not saying that's why we're here. I'm saying we're here because of the ordinance. Like, I won't go into a city if they don't have an ordinance. That's why I never went into Fort Worth, and that's why the company never went into Fort Worth. But now that they do, and the legislation made them legal, July 2017 made them legal in 11 counties. The Texas legislation made them legal in 11 counties in Texas, where not even the city council would do anything about it. And now they're starting to operate just to see where it goes. Well, there's other counties besides 11 counties that they made legal that have an ordinance set. When the Homeland Security was there at the La Jolla deal, I had asked them about Ballinger, and they said, and they knew that y'all had set an ordinance. That's why they said that they weren't going to do anything with Ballinger. And that's why I'm here. I didn't know that y'all had an ordinance. I would have been here a long time ago. But now y'all do have an ordinance. I'm just, the thing is I don't understand why we can't open it being, if it's just an application. Because we've always ran a legitimate establishment. We've always ran legitimate, whatever the law allows us to do, whatever y'all want us to do, that's exactly what we do.
Okay.
If y'all say, hey, Joe, you can give cash, we'll give cash. If y'all say, hey, we're going to get prizes, we work with everything. And now, with ordinances being set, that's why I'm here. We're just wanting to know why we haven't been able to open.
Okay, what's the population of Ballinger? Hold on, Rick. What's the population of Ballinger?
4,000 of them?
Correct. And how many game rooms do you already have?
Well, there wasn't a moratorium set. That's another thing that I looked at. There wasn't a moratorium set. I'm trying to get a moratorium set in San Angelo now. My lawyer wants me to wait till December. I have a 31-page documentation that shows that I'm putting skill games there, and I have a 31-page documentation from a legitimate lab that shows why we're legitimate, where we can pay cash. But I'm just saying, that's in San Angelo, and we only do it I only do what the law allows me to do.
You didn't answer my question.
And what's that?
How many are here?
2, 3, I don't, 2, I think.
You can tell me you do your homework. There's 3.
Oh, 3 games.
And why does Ballinger need more than 3?
I can't answer that for you.
Exactly.
But
that's our job. That's our responsibility here in the city. That's our elected positions in the city. We govern what happens in the city. We are home rule. We have a charter. We follow the rules of the state. We follow the rules of the county. We follow the rules of the the US, okay? So we have to make our decisions based on the information we're given. Just because you're legal, just because you follow the rules, just because you go through all that, doesn't mean we're okay with it or that we govern, because we have citizens calling us saying, please no more. No
Well,
more.
I've heard their
No more.
concerns, you know,
No
I
more.
spoke with some of the citizens here and I heard some of their concerns, and
Okay.
the thing is the reason we're here is because y'all didn't have a moratorium set. I mean, y'all have 4,000 people, but y'all didn't put it in y'all's ordinance and say, hey, we're gonna give out 3 or 4 licenses.
We're not going to.
What
We're not
I
gonna do
mean,
that.
I've never been to any place where you can't have, I mean, where you could do that, where you could just favor certain game rooms.
We're not gonna favor anything. We're stating the fact that we're favoring our citizens over the game rooms, and we're making the decision on what comes in or doesn't. That's our home rule decision.
And what it boils down to, on May the 7th, you put in an application here that was not complete. On May the 7th, I've got it right here, on the city council meeting. And
Well, in the city
and
council
then in
meeting,
June,
sorry, go ahead.
and then in June, you put in another one that was also incomplete. And so that ends it right there.
June, are you talking about the one that I brought back to you, Bob?
I'm talking about,
How was that incomplete? That was complete.
it is not complete.
I mean, if that's what, is that what we're going off of right now? The incomplete application, why I can't, why the company can't open?
Have you ever been charged with a conviction and that is blank?
No, we brought that back.
This is what we've got.
No, I understand, sir, but what I think would happen is y'all made a copy of it, of the one that was incomplete.
What it's saying is that's what we've got and that's what we went by, and therefore that's the end of it.
I understand, but if it's a complete application that you're looking for, I brought back a complete application. I don't know why you don't have it in your folder, but I brought it back to Bo. Me and her discussed it.
It hasn't been put back on the agenda since you put that no on there. It hasn't been put back on the agenda.
Well, I'm sorry, that's why I'm here, because you said that I was gonna be on the next agenda, which is today. I am not trying to put up a big fight here, I'm just
Yes,
gonna
you are.
do.
Yes, you are. You're arguing every
Well,
fact
it's
and
a lot of
every way
things.
to get what you want when we're saying no.
Okay, well, I was unaware of the no until we didn't even get a no last time I was here. We and her spoke about it outside, and she was here to hear a no. You know, she said, man, I didn't get my no today, or my yes, that's why they're here. And y'all didn't give me a no, and now you're telling me that you did give me a no.
We're saying the application was rejected because it was incomplete. That's an automatic no. It states that in the ordinance.
But
Just because you brought it back didn't mean, because basically it was supposed to go to a background check. But because it was already a incomplete application, we can automatically say no.
Right, but that's not what was stated that day. She gave me the application, I was sitting over there, and she handed me the application and said, here, bring this back.
Okay.
And I did that.
But we haven't seen it and we haven't.
And I did speak to him in, the citizen that we were here for a no.
So you're representing the citizens
Representing
that
the no.
that want to know.
You are.
What?
So what's gonna happen? I mean, is it just a no, or are y'all gonna take the application and put it back in the folder and review the whole, by the ordinances that y'all set today, are we gonna be able to open up then if we go by those ordinances? I mean, I've heard everything that he had to say, and I'm willing to comply. Everything we open up game rooms behind the same kind of ordinances, and we know how to do it. And I'm not gonna hand out cash, if that's the case. Everybody here is handing out cash, so if they're handing out cash, shut them down. But I know how to operate.
How do you know they have enough cash?
Well, I've asked, I asked around, what are they doing out there? And you can hand out cash. By law, you can hand out cash through a sweepstakes, you can hand out cash. But if there's some counties that say, okay, no cash, and some people don't know how to deal with the law when it comes to the penal codes that are behind it. But there's ways that you can hand out cash through a sweepstakes. When you go to the donation type, when the donation lab part of it, and people hand out cash, that's where they stop them. But through a sweepstakes, you can hand out. You have cash prizes. It's called cash prizes. You have prizes. You have cash prizes. But that's not what I'm gonna do here. If you're saying no cash, we're not gonna hand out cash. I wanna open up a place that's gonna be strictly private.
We're saying you have to comply with state law. That's what we're saying.
Absolutely. And we're willing to comply with state law. We've been in this type of field longer than most of the gamers that are here in this town. We know how to comply when it comes to, if y'all want a game room that doesn't want no cash, we'll do that. And we'll open up a very clean game room. That's why I have that building. That's a standalone building. It's overkill, but that's the building that I wanted because that's the kind of establishments that we open. We don't sell for less. I mean, everything has to be right, from the parking, to the presentation of the building, to the presentation of the employees, to the type of people that we have inside. We specialize in it. That's what we do. And I just don't let everybody just run in there. You know, we set rules, and if you don't apply by them, we don't want you in there as much as, you know, we've dealt with many cities before. We know how to deal with these, with these cases.
Pat. Number 1 under 536. And I'm not casting stones or insinuating anything about this gentleman. But can we, based on a person's background check, reject an application based on quote unquote moral character?
That's what it's provided in the ordinance. That's the way it's been all along.
So if somebody comes in with a background of possessing marijuana, being arrested for marijuana, drug paraphernalia, DWIs, blah, 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 based on that would lead us into proven moral character territory, would it not?
I think so, yes.
And we could reject an application based on that. That's all I need to know.
And the good thing is Chris is spot free. Chris was born in Europe. He was raised in Europe. He came here. He has a spot free.
Do you own the company?
I don't own the company. I work for the company. The only reason I'm here is because I get paid $1,500 to set up his equipment, and that's it. And then I'm going to go to Pampa and go do it again over there.
Okay.
Chris owns the company, and another gentleman, Brad, owns the company.
So would you be involved with this business?
Who's Joey Laura?
Would you be involved with this business?
No, I'm not involved with it. The only involvement that I have
No, the
is
Ballinger business.
No, I have no involvement. I get no proceeds. I get no profit from it. I'm just here to set up the equipment, and the company's going to pay me $1,500 to do that, and then I'm going to go on to the next one. The only reason I'm here is because I'm here for Chris. He's paying so much
So who
money.
owns the company, Laura?
I don't know who Laura is, but Chris Lee owns the company.
Oh,
Christopher Lee owns the
now
company.
that's the guy we talked with originally.
Well,
Had the incomplete
it
application.
is not on the agenda tonight to consider their application, so I don't know why we're spending a lot of time on that issue, because it's not on the agenda.
Can I say one more thing? So with the new ordinance set, if I can apply, if I can, comply, with everything that was stated by this gentleman here, is it okay for us to open?
So,
we have everything they're asking for. We have the window, we have the standalone building. I guarantee you that I can make, that the establishment look to the needs of the citizens here, where I don't really think there's going to be anybody that's going to say, hey, we have a problem with that place, because of the way that we run the place. And so if I can comply with everything that was stated today, is it okay if we open?
I think you already have problems.
And what's that?
Rick Sonnenberg, you talking about this building across from the post office?
Right.
I think some of the post office employees have problems. You have the big Baptist office in there beside Sonnenberg Tax Service. It's a Baptist where they run their churches out of. You have Rick Sonnenberg, he has a problem with it. So I think you already have problems in the neighborhood. And what about, Pat, what about this 500-foot thing?
that's what the new ordinance says.
And
They're
that's,
on the other end of a block, so whatever.
I think that's over 500 feet, I would say.
is it?
Yeah, it's definitely over 500 feet. It's directly
City
across.
block is 300 foot long.
What was it like the zoning for what was the other thing?
The alcohol ordinance.
The alcohol, is it to the center of the
Door,
street, down the
parking.
block and around, or are we talking as a crow flies?
I think we would take from the
furthest point of this, the nearest building, has crow flies. It's not.
So different than alcohol.
The alcohol ordinances have a specific, depending on if it's a church.
Do we say specifically? Probably should.
Well, regardless, it wasn't on the agenda to approve or deny this application tonight. So I would think if you want to go ahead and try to go ahead, you get them on the next agenda,
You need a complete application then,
complete your application, only be blank
and get
lines.
on the agenda.
And if you have turned it in, then we should have it on the next agenda. If that's, I mean, is that what everybody thinks we should do? I'm asking, because we can sit here and debate this all night. It's not on the agenda to approve.
Right, it's not on the agenda approved, but the fact of the matter is, it's the same application that's gonna be submitted, it's gonna be completed after it was already, submitted incomplete, therefore it was rejected right off the bat from that.
So
Therefore,
can
it's
you
supposed
only
to go
apply
into
one
automatic.
time?
Therefore, it's supposed to go into automatic background check and go further from there.
So to Chris's point, can you only apply one time? That,
If you're denied on your first application because it's not complete, can you never apply again? Or is there a certain amount of
No.
time that you have to wait, or what? So he can fill out another application, then complete it and get on the agenda. I'm not for or against it, I'm just trying to.
That's what he needs to do. He needs to submit a completed application, otherwise we're not gonna put it on the agenda.
Is the application that I have now, is it complete? I mean, would you say it's complete or
Or
it's complete?
Well,
I have-
if you don't own the business, don't we need to be talking to the man that owns the business?
that makes a little better sense. You're just setting up the game room.
Well, I mean-
Why did the owner invest enough to
Well,
come
see, here? The reason why I'm here is because, the owner, he is who he is, but he owns the game rooms. But the company, see, there was gonna be more guys from the company that were gonna come down here, that speak a little louder than I do for the company. But I know enough of the company and the laws and the regulations and the ordinances, to speak for them. That's why I'm here speaking for Chris and the company. There was gonna be a guy that was gonna come from Austin that works in the server side of the company that was gonna be here, but he's so tied up right now, he can't make it. And I told him, I said, well, any questions that they have, I can answer as far as ordinances, laws. I mean, I've worked with so many different counties and so many different places. And and the only issue that they had asked me, they said, Joe, usually when they put in an ordinance, they said, if it's in the ordinance, you don't really have to go before the council, because that's the whole point, because the council sets an ordinance, you go by the ordinance and you just go open up.
We denied, last time we were here, we told you we're going to deny it because it wasn't completed.
That's not,
Information wasn't completed.
well,
Has it been completed now? I don't know of any.
He put no on that no.
Who did?
Christopher?
Christopher.
We don't have a copy of it. He dropped it off after the last meeting.
We don't have that on May.
So a completed application has been presented to the
It's
city.
in there
Yes.
to go on the next agenda for whenever that.
There's something else going on here, because you're fighting too far trying to get a.
What's happening is we're paying $1,500.
There's something driving it besides just opening in.
What would that be? And what could that be?
That means we don't need it.
Well, I mean, you can easily, that's what I don't understand. Y'all said an ordinance, we're here, and it almost sounds, I just don't understand. I'm just gonna give it, we just don't need it, there's something behind it. I'm not against what you're saying, but we've done everything that we were supposed to do.
We're gonna have to look at your application. It is not on the agenda tonight.
Correct.
We shouldn't even be discussing it. It's not on the agenda. So by law, we can't discuss your agenda, your application tonight.
No, well, my whole question is, was at the beginning, after you had spoke about the new ordinance, are we gonna be able to open? Is it okay if we do everything that?
We're still, we haven't approved the ordinance.
When we get to it.
We still
I
have to
haven't
approve
approved
this
the
new ordinance still here.
Well, I just-
Make any adjustments or corrections.
So if y'all haven't approved it yet, then the old ordinance still stands.
If we approve it tonight, it's no longer stands.
But as of this moment, right now, it still stands, because y'all haven't approved the new ordinance yet.
What does that matter? It's not on the
That's what I'm
agenda,
saying, like,
it's
what is
not on the
keeping us from
agenda,
opening?
it's not on the agenda, nothing's been presented to council.
The previous ordinance says you have a background check with a completed application, you haven't met those requirements, that's what's keeping you from opening right now, right?
Okay.
That's what's keeping you from opening right now. We're looking at a change, some modifications to the ordinance, so you can reapply and be on the next.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's just, it's
No, it-
become, I mean, if y'all were in my shoes and then you have a company paying so much money and trying to deal with this situation, y'all, I mean, it's not like we're just filthy rich and,
No,
and it's,
yeah.
But if you were in our shoes,
I don't know about Jason, I don't know about Rick, but I could guess. Public input is no.
That is correct.
and
the public from here.
The citizens of Ballinger have spoken to us
That's right.
and
And,
said,
and I had spoken with them, and they had said, Joe, how is it possible that these places are opening? And I said, ma'am, well, after a long conversation, y'all saw me standing outside, I said, ma'am, after a long conversation, I said, well, these are the legalities that I know of, that this is why I'm here. And then eventually she had said, well, I just don't understand how this one opened. And I said, it's right here in the ordinance. She said, where? So that made me aware that they didn't know it. They were unaware that y'all had made an ordinance, that y'all had allowed.
We have ordinances that are posted on the website.
That's, you misunderstand.
and we need
Okay,
to stop
okay.
this conversation right now
It's
and
in.
get on with our business.
Yes.
And this is the end of it.
Let Pat finish what he's gonna say there, Rick, and we'll go on.
The bottom line is, it's not on the agenda, and so we have the ordinance in front of us tonight as read with my amendments.
Correct.
Do we have a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll say.
All in favor, say aye.
ah,
You may reapply, we'll put it on the agenda, okay? But that doesn't mean it's a yes. You understand why? Because it's all of our heads, we've already received the calls, we've already been told it's gonna be in the ordinance, whether you accept it or not, okay? We're going forward.
Okay,
I already asked you the questions, all right? If it's shut down in San Angelo and it's shut down in Abilene and all y'all are trying to do is start hitting the small towns around it, then that's not something we're gonna want in our small cities all the time. Smaller communities don't want what the bigger cities have. All right?
That's right.
well, it's not just bigger cities that have
Well,
it.
that's fine.
Like I said, it's different size counties that.
I understand that. The others take care of their stuff. This is us taking care of us. This is our job. This is our elected position. We are home rule. We are gonna stand our ground.
But Sam, somebody made a point one of those valid, there's gotta be an undercurrent as to why these people want to go.
I understand that. I
That's
understand that.
right, that's Rick said that.
It's the only reason because it's in the ordinance. That's why they're here. I didn't know that they were in the ordinance. They never said it. The pick and pack and other places, they didn't realize, or they wouldn't say it. They're not going to say, "Hey, Joe, it's in the ordinance, and we know who y'all guys are, so we're not going to let y'all come in here." And that's the only thing. That's the only reason why they're even here. That's why the Homeland Security told me that they weren't coming over here because they already know about y'all's ordinance.
Did you understand what the mayor just got through saying?
All right, we're moving on, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Moving on.
So the application, I'm sorry, one more thing. The application that she has, is that complete? Bo, is that complete, or do I need to come back and get another application, or?
I would say it's complete.
Okay.
Unless
So,
they want y'all to put it, unless they want you to do a new application with a different date.
What?
Well,
I don't see how the,
wait,
it looks to me like the owner of the business needs to put in an application
he did.
And bigger.
and leave, yeah.
He did. He's the one that came back with the application.
Oh, yes.
Who's the owner?
Christopher Lee.
Is that correct?
That was the guy that was
Ted.
with you?
Yes.
Ted, I put information on your desk one time.
That's.
Is he the direct or indirect owner? Is there somebody else?
No, he's the direct owner.
what's the one who Joey Lara is?
Who's Joe?
I don't know.
All right, we're opening up another can of worms that we already closed, okay?
Yeah.
So. You understand?
Well,
Yes, sir.
no, previous-
Okay, so next agenda.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir, thank you. All right, consider approval of building permits.
Okay.
One, right? Or two?
Jimmy Prime, 1206 wants to put in an 18 by 21 by 7-foot carport. Prefabricated. Looked it over, everything should be fine.
Only one?
Yes.
Okay, motion to accept the loan permit as presented, please.
Motion. Make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Y'all still need to work on it. All right, here's the city administrator's bi-weekly report, please.
Okay. On June the 5th, which was a Tuesday after the last council meeting, myself, Steve, and Scott went with Mr. Garcia with the railroad concerning our ski jump down there. And they stated to us that after a long discussion, that they would see about getting it fixed. They asked us if we could barricade the street for them. We said yes, no problem there. Steve talked with them again today. Their contractor that does that work had left town, so they were getting another contractor, Steve?
Well, they're gonna come look again
Okay,
and see what can be done.
yeah. We've been through this.
Kind of where it's at right now. Whether anything can be done or not.
Then I also had Steve contact the railroad about cleaning up their mess down here, between here and 13th Street, the 6-foot weed, and told me we needed that taken care of. Steve talked to a lady with the railroad that happened to be in charge of that.
Yeah, and, yeah, she said that they would try to get it done within the next couple of weeks.
So that's where we stand with the railroad right now. Talked with Scott this morning, and he informed me that he's going to try within the next few weeks to get Country Club Road paved and get that out of the way. They're still working on other roads to pave. He stated that they were back over by 2nd Street and Sergeant on the drainage problem area there, and he was still trying to get a hold of gas company concerning service lines that are running across there, which are a problem. So, still working on that. The lake stands at 1666.5 feet elevation, which is 1.5 feet low. We're in great shape. We're 20% into summer, so we can't complain about water levels. Lake Ivy is getting lower. It's down to 17%, so it's dropping like a rock. I went over it over the weekend, and Concho River is just about dry again, so we sure need a rain. Other than that, that's all I've got.
Questions, comments, concerns? All right. Here, request for future agenda items from City Council. We got anything else that needs to be on the agenda, please? My goodness, y'all.
Oh, I got one other thing. Bo and I started on budget today, so
Yes.
hopefully after the next council meeting, we'll have a little budget workshop to talk about. Sorry, I forgot that.
That's right. All right, Ballinger City Council should meet in executive session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with City Attorney. Update on alternative water contract with City of Abilene.